Hello, welcome to Good for a
Hang on,
Change.
are we going to test the levels and make sure it's all fine?
Hello, and welcome to Good for a Change. This is the podcast where we aim to combat the awful everyday news you hear with stories that will make you smile. I'm Jarrod. No other name there. With me is Jolly Hollie.
Ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho, and Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas.
And that's...
No, you've got to use your real name, Jarrod. Your real Christmas
don't
name.
have to use that at all.
You do.
It's
Nope.
Rudolph Jarrod Nosed Reindeer.
Right. Nope. Hate all of it. Of course, that would be pretty much the only Christmas thing you hear, even though this is coming out Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to you if you are listening to this around that time.
And you celebrate it.
And you celebrate, of course. Sorry. Otherwise, hello and happy whatever day you're listening it is.
Happy June 12th.
Happy June 12th.
March 31st, the day that doesn't exist. That's a Parks and
That's a
Recreation
Parks and
reference for anyone listening at home.
And I'm glad we got to introduce ourselves because I completely forgot last year in the spirit of Christmas.
Last year.
It's all going bad. It's just said the red-nosed reindeer bit and my poor brain's gone, so I don't want to talk anymore. So Holly, I'm going to give it to you. Tell me some good news so I can just not have to listen to things anymore.
Are you ready for some good news?
I am. There are currently jingle bells in another room.
My good news this week is linked to a video that was recently released by the NFL.
How much NFL football videos do you watch that I don't know about?
A lot. I know all about the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets.
My favorite part is that you almost pronounced dolphins wrong when you read that. Dolphins!
I don't know. It's NFL. The F might be important. So they recently released a video of Jerome Baker Jr., who is a linebacker. I don't know what that means. For
Sports references.
sports. For the Miami Dolphins. And the
Dolphins?
if we get this good news story out, it'll be a miracle. NFL. Miracle.
La NFL. Is that how the French say it?
NFL.
This whole podcast is already just unairable. But we'll power through.
So, Jerome Baker is in this video. He is mic'd up. And I think he's mic'd up because he's meant to be, like, pumping his friends up who are playing the game. But it's this video of him just asking people multiple times where his mum is.
Oh, it took a while to get there, but we got there and it was worth it.
He's like, has anyone seen my mum? Guys, has anyone seen my mum? And apparently, so he booked the ticket for his mum before they'd won the previous game. Mm-hmm. And I believe she'd gone to the previous game, so it was sort of like a good luck thing, and also like she might have been able to come, she might not have been able to come, and so he was unsure. And he got to the fourth quarter and he saw her.
Oh, so she was there.
She was
okay, good.
But it's like this brilliant video of him just being like, guys, anyone see my mum? Once in a while I'll be like, you're doing great, mum. I haven't seen my mother.
How old is he?
22, I believe. 22,
Oh, good
23.
on him.
Yeah, I think it's really sweet. He was like, I knew I was asking, but I didn't realise it was that often. He's like, it's really funny. It's a really funny video.
It reminds me of when Hugh Jackman goes on stage and does like a live performance at things, and inevitably there are women in the audience that are like, whoa! He always, whenever there's someone that does that, just like a random one person, he's always like, hi mum.
Yep, nice.
And I think that is hilarious.
Classic gag.
Classic gag. So funny.
I think you do perform differently when your mum's there though, don't you?
Oh, definitely.
Like, we make children's theatre, Sean and I, for our job. Sometimes Jarrod's there, sometimes he's not. And sometimes we'll do it at my mum's school, and she might be able to come and she might not be able to come, but when she like walks in the room, I'm like, oh my gosh, my mum's here! To these 4-year-olds, they don't care. They're like, why is this woman weird?
Do you perform at your mum, like to her? Like
No, I can't look at her because I love her too much, and it's too much for me.
I like way back when Sean and we did our school production in 2007 because we're real old, and it was a High School Musical, the Disney movie High School Musical, right?
And we were doing the Australian premiere of it too.
We were the Australian premiere, and I was Chad, who was a basketballer, of which I am not.
Similar, not the same.
Yep, not the same. And you know, I would occasionally just in my head at home, I'd have the song in my head, and completely not consciously, I'd start like doing the little dance moves and stuff like that. This is like while rehearsals were going on, and there was one in particular during we're all in this together that my brother.
Is it the pump?
It is
pump,
the pump clap, right?
You know.
And so I had been doing that, and my brother was like, "Oh, show me how you do it." So I was all right. So I showed my brother how to do it. Anyway, that was, I think, Christmas Day. Cut to like 4 months later when we're actually performing this show, and I do that, the pump clap, while my family is in the audience, and I look at my brother when I'm doing it, and I'm pretty sure this is on their DVD. You can see me look at him and have to look away because he just dissolves into laughter because I've looked right at him, and then I'm trying my best to sing the rest of this damn song without just crying in laughter about the whole thing. You're right, it's real different when your family is sort of there. Even like again during High School Musical, I think the first night, that's because that's like the only real theatre I've done. Theatre. It was not theatre, it was fine. Like at one point, what's that song in the cafe? Status
Quo.
Status Quo.
Stick to the status quo.
At one point during that, I have to sing. We have to sing something and then like pause while something else goes on off stage. Mm-hmm. And I've gone like that, and I've looked into the audience, and without realizing it, like I had family there who didn't tell me they were coming, and I'm just staring at them, and in my head I'm going, I've done this whole show not realizing there's people I know like right there. And then I just got nervous all of a sudden, and and they're looking at me, and they're just like waving at me, like trying to put me off now, and I'm like,
really
oh,
cruel.
Damn it.
So a lot of what Holly and I do is improvisation, and Holly's mum and sister come with us up to Edinburgh to do the Fringe with us every year, and they're sort of our unpaid interns, and they help us out, and they watch the shows, and we'll always do little things in the shows that reference things that have happened recently. Mm-hmm. Not deliberately necessarily, but sometimes it just pops up in a show.
Yeah.
So they'll be standing in the background giggling at something that's, you know, recently happened on our adventure, whether it's being saturated with rain somewhere, or whether it's something we've eaten, or, you know, references to like local things that we've visited that they sort of pop through, and they always get a laugh out of that. So, you know, performing to the parents, but in a slightly different way.
Like I said, I've only done basically High School Musical is the only theatre I've really done.
Well, it's gonna change. Sorry.
But I like to do little things in the doing little things in the background while other things were going on, and I wasn't the focus of the scene. I'd be in the background, just like acting, but things that if you weren't looking at me, it was fine. If you were paying attention to me, it was like, no, I don't think he should be doing that. Like, we went to a Christian school. I made some very unchristian references, things like that in the background of High School Musical, that if you look at the DVD, you can see. But then, like you add little bits in here and there. It's great. Would you like me to tell you exactly what they are?
No, I don't.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, dear.
No, alright, fine. Well, look, fine, I won't talk about unchristian references. Instead, I'm going to talk about my story. I'm going to talk about Max the Labrador.
Oh.
Max the Labrador was in the car with his owner when she took a wrong turn.
Oh, no.
His owner exited the car in a cul-de-sac to look at the street sign and figure out where she was. That makes sense.
Yep.
Where am I?
Yep.
I mean, most people get their phone out. Anyway, this lady didn't.
Shouldn't in the car.
Ooh.
Good on her.
Good point. The car self-locked.
Oh,
and
no.
Max was left in there alone.
Max.
Oh, no.
And that's the end of the story. No, because this is good news. Somehow, I don't know if this is good news. It's funny news. Somehow, Max managed to put the car in reverse. which caused the car to start doing donuts, albeit slowly, in the residential street.
Oh, Max.
Just imagine that. Like, just how it's got this thing into reverse, I don't know.
Oh, that's...
But because I think the parking brake was on,
Yeah.
this thing just starts slowly spinning, and the dog's in the front seat going, "What? What's happening?" Starts turning. Multiple police cars arrived, and they tried for over an hour to stop this car.
Oh, no.
Oh, poor Max.
Did they stop it?
So, it hit a letterbox,
Oh no.
knocked over rubbish bins, before an officer finally managed to access an external keypad on the door. Which,
What kind of a car is this?
it's one of those modern ones. A lot of them have these sort of things.
This Elon Musk Cybertruck.
Yes. Oh, that was an ugly car anyway. We won't talk about that.
Could have gotten that one with a brick to the window, but whatever.
Yeah. So a lot of these cars now have like the fobs to
Yeah.
like lock it and to stop it and those sorts
Yeah.
of things. She had a spare one, and she gave it to the officer, and the battery was out.
No.
Oh, no.
So finally they managed to stop it. Max seemed very proud of himself when he got out of the car. Apparently he was in very good spirits.
Guys, I did some driving.
Might have been a little dizzy, but besides that, and a witness described it as hilarious and still not the worst driving she's ever seen. So there we go. There's Max the Labrador.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad that it didn't.
Oh, it hasn't done
Do
anything
any
bad.
damage,
Yeah, it's
you
just
know?
real slowly. Just little donuts. Like, wouldn't it have been left like the skids on the road? Nothing like that.
Oh, bless
Just
it.
imagine watching that. Just imagine being like, oh no, I've locked myself out of... Oh my goodness, Max, what are you doing?
That's like when you drive past a car, though, and there's like a dog sat in the passenger seat, and you're like, is that dog driving? And you're like, no, it's not, it's fine.
I don't think I've ever thought that to myself.
Well, you and me are different people, Jarrod.
That's it. My brother, early this year, he went away and left his dog with us. Mm-hmm. And I took his dog, Barry, for a walk.
Hi, Barry, if you're listening.
For a drive, I should say.
Woof woof.
Woof woof. Who's a good boy, Bazzy? And so I took him for a drive. I went to a friend's house who had a dog. They were going to play, and that was all good. So I put him in the back seat. I've sort of, harnessed him a little bit so he's set. Obviously, haven't done a very good job because I'm not, 100 meters up the road, and he is now sitting on my lap.
Oh, no.
And so I've had to pull over and been like, no, get at least into the passenger side. So I put the window down a little bit for him, and he's, stuck his head out.
Classic dog move.
That's great, classic dog move. We're only driving for about 5 minutes. And so I started, and then he's gotten bored. No, I want to go back on your lap. Sits back on the lap. And so I had to, thank God I wasn't driving anywhere, where there were a lot of traffic. But I had to have him sitting on my lap. And he's not a small dog.
What kind of dog is he?
He's like I want to say a Kelpie. Maybe?
Okay.
I've got a picture of him, I'll show
Yeah.
you. And yeah, he's not a small dog. And he had to sit on my lap for the whole 5 minutes. And then, as we went home, I put him in the back. And in the time it took me to put him in the back seat and then walk to the front of my car, to my seat, he was in the front seat for him to sit on my lap again. No, Bazzy, off you go.
Dogs are cute.
We don't deserve dogs.
We don't deserve.
We don't. He's a very good boy.
Oh, bless. You should have put his paws on the steering wheel and freak people out.
Oh, I should have. Maybe I should have. There's videos of people who wear car seat costumes.
Yeah.
Where they sit back and, the car will drive up to a drive-through and it'll look like there's no one in there. Should do that, but with the dog on your lap.
With a dog on your lap.
Yeah.
I feel like that would really restrict your vision if you were in a car seat costume and there was a dog on your lap.
I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, that's true. And we're going to do that now.
And we're back. And our cars have all been ruined. We tried it 3 times. Don't know why we did that.
We spent a lot of money on costuming and on dogs.
And on cars.
Well, on the lines of technical difficulties, you're not being able to get into the car with the tech.
Yep, great.
Nick Vassos the other day had a little bit of a whoopsie. You see, Nick Vassos wasn't feeling very good. And like many of us, he decided that he would take the day off work.
Classic Nick.
Yeah,
Great. Love taking a day off work.
Call in a sickie, have a day off work. Now, Nick Vassos is an anchor and traffic reporter for a Kansas City news service.
I was wondering if I was meant to know who Nick Vassos was.
No, it's okay. Unless you're from Kansas City, Holly, you probably don't know who Nick Vassos is. But a lot of people did find out who Nick Vassos was, because Nick Vassos decided he would email in his "I'm sick today" notice, and unfortunately didn't realize that he was emailing all at the company. Now, when I say the company, I don't just mean like his Kansas City local news broadcaster. Yep. He emailed the entire overarching company that looks after 196 channels across the US. So he managed to email about 13,000 people that he was ill and wouldn't be coming into work on Friday.
I have to ask, was he actually sick or was he faking it?
I believe he was sick.
Okay.
Yes.
Good on you, Nick.
Well, what it resulted in was a massive outpouring of hope for Nick that he would get well soon. It went viral. It went viral.
Yeah.
Possibly more viral than whatever illness he had. They had to close the email server down because so many people were responding, and the potential for so many more people within the company to respond. It was getting too much for the servers to hold, so they had to like cancel the email servers. So they took to Twitter instead and started with the hashtag prayers for Nick. And they started, all these like TV channel people were messaging Nick and sending their well wishes in the hope that he would, get well soon.
He's probably just got a cold.
Exactly. My favorite thing is they built him like a little shrine at one of the studios, and it just kept growing and growing. More people kept bringing things to the shrine, so it started off with just like a picture and some candles, and there was like a wreath, and there was like all these people like pictures of the. I'll put it up on the show notes on Instagram, but there were people like praying for Nick at the shrine, and a whole lot of wonderful emails coming in.
Did you see the original email? Do you know what the original email says?
I can't remember if I actually had a look at the original email, but it was.
It would have just been something like, "Hey, not feeling great, won't be in today."
Yeah,
I hope
Nick.
so. I hope it wasn't.
Send to all.
Hi guys, here's a very in-depth description of why I'm not here today.
Yeah,
and that would be embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, no one seemed to respond with emails that seemed to be,
Did anyone think he was
it
like
to an issue?
Did anyone not get joked? Was there anyone who thought he was like actually deathly ill? Like there had to have been some people who didn't realise that people were doing this ironically.
Maybe we shouldn't be, well, I do know that because it was prayers for Nick.
Mm-hmm.
There were some other celebrities that did think potentially it was them.
Okay.
So like Nick Lockie, who I think was like Paris Hilton or Nicole
Jessica
Simpson's.
Nick Lachey.
Nick Lachey, okay, yeah.
Don't ask me why I know that. Go on.
Okay.
I'm not airing any of this podcast.
Nick Lachey, who was...
Jessica
Simpson's husband, boyfriend. I don't know, back in the time. He got worried and he tweeted out, what's going on? I like that he thought that like he was the Nick.
They've gone for him, yeah.
Yeah, that he was the one that was like, wow, this is definitely about me. It wasn't, like...
Yeah, that's pretty like intense to be like, there's millions of Nicks in the world, but this is about me.
Yeah. It turns out, and then Nick Vassos emailed him or tweeted him to say like, "Don't worry, it's me. Everything's all right." But yeah, it's sort of funny because you do see those like things pop up every so often. There's little trending hashtags, and you're like, "Oh no, is this in relation to someone I know?" And then it's never actually that person that you know. It's always someone else. But
no, what other celebrity Nicks are there? Nick Carter,
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. What does it say about me that the first person I went to was Nick Carter?
Nicole
Scherzinger. Again, Nicole Richie. It's like, do you just have an era of like Nick?
No, because I was watching Great News the other day, and she's in it. Nick. Saint Nick.
Saint Nick. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wow, I'm glad the segment has just evolved into just finding celebrity nicknames.
I don't know very many. Nickelback?
No prayers for Nickelback.
Oh dear.
Goodness.
Good.
Well, if you know any good nicknames...
This is awful. This is all terrible.
I just saw that he's back.
Yes,
He's back at work.
Nick Vassos is back at work.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
He's
the
feeling
prayers
better.
worked.
He received a real welcome back. Like everyone was like, "Oh, it's good to see you back, Nick," and they filmed like a little thing, and it went out. It's been really viral for them. Obviously, they got like a bunch more viewers because of it, because they were.
Good old Nick.
Nick was unwell. It made pretty national news, I think, over in the States. It was in like
Well,
morning shows and stuff.
Because he sent it to every news outlet.
News outlet in America.
Goodness me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, besides Nick's good health, what's good in your life, Sean?
Well, sort of recently, it was my birthday, and it was a big birthday. It was 30.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You're so old.
Thanks for reminding me again.
I mean, I'm older, but
yeah,
it's
true.
fine.
And had a lovely time. Had a lovely time. I got to go to the theatre and see Come From Away, which was lovely. I had a nice evening at the pub with you and my family. And was sort of, that night was presented with a birthday cake. And for reference sake, you need to know that my dad and my sister are very passionate cake makers.
Yes, they are.
And
very good.
very good
excellent
cake makers.
Excellent cake makers.
Dad is a chef. Tamlin is very passionate. Anyway, it's been a long time since I've been home for one of my birthdays, and I was expecting, just on the sideline, I was expecting like a pretty fancy cake, especially because it was my 30th.
Right.
What I was presented with on the night of my birthday
I'm so sorry.
was 2 Coles mud cakes that had been carved into the number 3 and the number 0.
Yeah.
Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Coles is a supermarket over here. They make a very delicious chocolate mud cake.
They do.
It costs about $5. Everyone has them all the time. Barbecues, bam, Coles mud cake. Birthday party, on the go, Coles mud cake. But I was expecting a little bit more, and it was very hard for me to hide my disappointment.
Yeah. Now we will get to why Holly and I have been giggling throughout this story. But for the moment, I will say it was very enjoyable to watch your face.
And also for you to step around the fact
that you were disappointed, because you made a point of saying, "Oh no, this is great! Like I really enjoy this," and that made us giggle even more.
You were very gracious.
You were very gracious. Now you may continue.
So I wasn't really expecting anything. Holly had said on the weekend, let's just have a nice day together. Let's just have a Sean and Holly day. I want to do something nice for your birthday. Well, I'll decide what it is later, but I don't really want to tell you what it is. And I was like, that's fine. And I totally believed the lie. I believed the lie until the very point where I walked into the place that we were going to, and suddenly everyone yelled out, "Surprise!" Because I got a surprise birthday party.
You did.
And I completely wasn't expecting it. And it was wonderful. We went to Tons of Fun, which is an arcade.
Yeah.
And we got to play on the arcade machines, and we got to watch a 9D movie, and we got unlimited free cordial.
I had green cordial.
Green cordial. We should point out they mainly do little kids parties.
Yeah.
We did have to call and be like, "This is for an adult."
Yeah, this is for he's 30, and they were like, "Yep, great." They were into it.
But I'd fallen completely hook, line, and sinker for the trap. And even though there were a number of things that slipped up, you could say, in the process of this happening,
we'll get to those.
I was still very surprised by the end of it. Holly goes, "Well, let's go down to this certain cafe." And this certain cafe is in a very small shopping centre that's very local. And it's not the kind of place you go to if you want to have a nice day, husband and wife kind of cafe experience.
Yep.
So I thought it was a bit weird that she suggested that. And I was like, let's not go to that one. Let's go somewhere else. And then she said, let's go to the next size shopping centre where there is also a cafe. And it's a bit more of a medium-sized shopping centre. There's a bit more to do there. It's not just a supermarket. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. And it's getting late in the day, so that'll be the perfect timing to then go into town and go to the movies. So I'm ushered into this cafe, and then I want to sit on the sofa side of the table, and then Holly says I can't sit on that side of the table. And this is where it gets very confusing, and yet I still didn't catch on.
Yes, okay. Now let's back up a little. We've been planning this party for how long?
Maybe a month.
Maybe a month, right? And so there's been a lot of little things like I've had to go pick Holly up from work the week before your party so we could go order balloons. This was in a store called Big W. We will get back to that shortly. Right? So we've been organising this. It's gone real well. He has had no idea what's going on. It gets to a couple of days before the party. and I say to Holly, have you worked out how you're going to get him to this place yet? To Tons of Fun. She's like, I haven't got a clue. I was like, okay. She's like, look, I've come up with an idea that I want to do something for his birthday. I'm like, you need something more concrete than this. I don't know. Even to the morning of, she's like, I don't know how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I was just going to honestly drive him to...
But you don't drive.
I was going to get him to drive.
Okay. So I have then gone, right, I'm going to have to concoct this lie about this movie that my parents have tickets to. That wasn't true. To at least get you to the car park that's 20 meters away from Tons of Fun. So I'm like, right, I can get him that far. So I have the stuff because you are with Sean, so I have to go early and set up this party. So I've got all the decorations and I have to go get balloons from Big W that Holly and I had ordered. Now, you might recall Sean told a story about going to a cafe. That cafe is right in front of Big W.
Holly is, it should be noted that Holly, because she's new to the country and she doesn't drive, she's very directionally confused.
Right.
And she
Correct.
gets very confused with shopping centres.
So I get a message as I'm in my car, about to pull out of my driveway, saying, I've made a mistake. We're at the cafe in front of Big W. The cafe that I am 5 minutes from walking past to get these balloons. So her and I have had to do this whole dance of, right, well, you need to sit him in a particular spot, which is why you wanted to sit in a particular spot. You need to make sure he's facing the wrong way so I can come through the door that I don't usually come through. In order...
No one comes through
No one
that
comes
door.
through that door. In order to get these balloons... I even asked the lady at Big W, is there an exit I can leave that's not the front? And she's like, no, we got rid of it for theft. I'm like, well, that doesn't help me, but I get it. Fair enough.
Good on you.
Good on you. So then, so thanks very much. So I was within probably about 5 meters of you at one point while you're in your cafe, holding your birthday balloons.
And the cake...
The book and the story.
The book and the story.
The longest story about a surprise party in the world.
This story has gone about as long as your party went.
There was a cake. And it was a fantastic cake. It was Donald Duck's face, constructed a la a Women's Weekly kids' birthday cake. Beautiful, well made, tasty, the taste of my childhood.
Right, and God knows your love for Donald Duck.
We all know my
we've
love for
spoken about it on this podcast before.
If you haven't listened to it, it's in a previous episode. Go searching for it.
It was delicious cake. Your sister did very well.
It was really yummy. It had raspberry filling.
It did have very nice.
Very, very good.
Well, besides raspberry filling and a cake, Holly, what's good in your life?
I'm looking forward to the new year.
Are you?
We're doing a lot of travelling next year and we've got a lot going on and I'm really looking forward to getting some stuff done and seeing the world.
Well, you got a lot planned.
Yeah.
There are a lot of international trips.
All over the shop next year, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going in January to Perth for the Perth Festival, and then we're flying back to England to see my family. From there, we're going to Switzerland to do some shows. Then we're going back to England. Then we're going to come and do Adelaide Fringe. We're all over the place, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be a busy first few months of the year.
Not
Really
for me.
busy. No?
Nah, I'm just going to hang out at home and wish I was in Switzerland.
And come on holiday?
Are you paying?
No.
No thanks.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it though.
Yeah, it's going to be busy, but it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a really fun year next year. I think we're going to have a really fun time next year.
Somewhere in amongst it all, we're going to have to try and record podcasts somehow.
We're going to have to sit and spend a whole day just recording a bunch.
Just
You'll be like,
ourselves.
why is this news from 2017?
Well, that doesn't make sense time-wise.
We're really, really far ahead with pre-recording.
Yeah, at the moment, we're currently 2012.
Guys, have you heard of that man? No, I won't even go. It's not worth it. It's not. I'm
How
not.
good was it when Barack Obama got nominated for a second term?
I love Barack Obama.
Oh dear. Okay,
Let's-
Jarrod. Aside from Barack Obama's second term, what's great in your life?
So I was on the train the other day, and that's it. Because I like trains.
I love public transport.
I love
Wow, we're bringing up the
steam
train
trains.
things again.
No, I was on the train the other day coming back from the city, and it was after school. And so quite often a lot of kids will get on coming back from school, and they can, be a bit rowdy, and that's fine. Doesn't really bother me. I had headphones in. But at one point, these two boys, maybe about 12, 13, got on, and they were, shoving each other and laughing and playing and being obnoxious, and they were kids, and that was okay. And then a couple of stops later, the doors opened, and there was this elderly woman, would have been in her 90s,
Right.
with a walker, waiting to get on. And these boys, held the train door back. One got out and helped this old woman onto the train, and helped her and sat her down, and then waved, because obviously I think the conductor had been sort of watching. Anyway, sat her down, and they went back to being rowdy. And a couple of stops later, one of the boys leant down to her and sort of went, okay, and just sort of, that was, didn't think anything of it. And then about 8 stops later, one of the boys went and helped her up and led her to the door. The other boy held the door, and they led her out and sort of helped her get out.
That's
and then
so
got back on the train.
lovely.
I was just like, it's nice to know that there's some good
Yeah.
out there. Yes, we're old now, and yes, it is very easy for to go, oh, kids these days. But a lot of these, and it's just it's probably a lot of it's to do with the media and how they're perceived and how they're portrayed. But it's nice to see young teenagers
Be good in the
be
world.
good, and it's nice to know that okay, we're probably going to be all right because we've still got people like that.
I think the thing to remember is when I was a teenager and when you were all teenagers.
Those are two different times.
Yeah, they were very different times, but 1912, 2012, there's a generational gap there.
Thanks very much.
But kids are still people, and kids are good, and they have good hearts.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people give kids a bad rap.
Yeah,
When really it's just people getting on with their lives, having a fun time.
that's it.
And we all have the power to be good. We all have the power to see someone struggling to get on a train or anything like that, and we can make that choice at the time. We can go do I just want to ignore this and this is that person's problem, or do I want to be the person that gets up there and gives a helping hand and gets someone on the train or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And it's nice that kids are making these decisions, and we can see that every so often. Or it's nice when you see an adult doing it as well, or whoever.
Just anyone doing
it's
it.
always really nice. I feel like that's sort of why we started doing this podcast too, was to highlight those moments of there's good still in the world.
Yes, exactly right. Well,
And there's a lot of good in the world.
And I mean, exactly right. That's why we do this podcast, because we're combating the bad news.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I filter through a lot of good news to find my favourite good news.
yeah.
It's not like I find one good news story and I'm like,
That's it.
that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm always watching out, because a lot of good news stories do go viral and get really popular. And I want to try and find the ones that aren't necessarily.
Yeah. But I mean, I watch the news, almost every night. I'll sit and let's watch the headlines or the first probably 10 minutes. And it's just bad news. And I'm like, I'm sick to death of it. And exactly right. That's why we're doing this, because I'm sick of hearing, this person did something bad. This person bashed this person. This person killed this person. That's nice. I want to hear about dogs putting their cars in reverse and doing donuts.
I want to hear about good deeds.
Yeah.
And if you want to hear about good deeds, or if you've done a good deed, if you've done a great deed recently, or you've heard of someone that's done a great deed, send us an email at the email is goodforachangepodcast@gmail.com. We read everything you send us. If it's suitable for the podcast, we may even talk about it. So do send something through to us, especially at this time of year. There's a lot of good happening right now.
You know what I think would be a really nice kind of good deed, if you're looking to do something good for the world, would be leave us only 5-star reviews. We'd really appreciate that. It really warms our hearts to see that people enjoy what we do, and it's a good boost for us.
It also helps us spread the word. It spreads the good news as well. So if you do leave us a 5-star review,
Only.
we'd appreciate it. But it does help spread the good news as well.
Well, that was great. That was good news.
It was really nice.
What was your favourite part, Holly?
The bit where you talked about donuts. And now I'm hungry.
Yeah, wrong type of donuts, but I'm with you.
Oh, I've completely misunderstood the story.
Oh no. What was your favourite bit, Sean?
We talked about cake, and I'm thinking about cake now.
Do you know what? I watched Nailed It
Oh,
on Netflix, and I watched a little bit of it today, and I've just really wanted cake all day.
There's some birthday cake in the fridge.
Fantastic.
It's nearly a month old at this point.
If you want to chow down on some digital content, we put all our show notes onto our Instagram stories, and they're in the highlights. All the previous episodes are in the highlights, so you can see all the things we've talked about in all the previous episodes. And that's on Instagram at goodforachangepodcast.
That's it. And Holly, is there anything you would like to say? No, because you've already said your 5-star bit, because you did it in the wrong section. But that's okay. I'm going to allow it this episode.
Just quickly, one thing I did want to say is that the policy still stands.
Okay, great.
It is still 5 stars.
Okay.
We will.
It hasn't changed in the last 30 seconds since I've already heard you talk about it?
No, we will review it in the new year. We will have a look into
Okay.
the policy, but as of now, as it stands,
Yep.
it is still a 5-star policy.
Still only 5 stars.
Yeah.
Okay.
So demanding.
Yeah, but I think people are going to respond well to it. Because if there's anything people respond well to, it's being told to do things.
Policy.
Policy. People love a policy, Sean.
This is terms and conditions, Sean.
Oh, okay. That's my favourite part of any agreement.
This whole episode has just been
Mayhem.
Well, that's right, because now it's coming to an end. So thank you very much, Holly.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Thank you very much, Sean.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jarrod. You're welcome.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.